Good Sunday morning, Northeast Ohio, and the craziness of the Washington News Week. It feels like this week's Democratic presidential debate was a month and a half ago. But the reality is, it was Tuesday. That the Democrats chose to come to Ohio is significant. No Republican has ever won the White House without winning the state, and the Democrats see an opportunity to keep it that way. For decades, Ohio has been a relatively easy-to-figure-out state when it came to presidential elections. Democrats focused heavily on the urban areas in hopes of winning them by enough of a margin to offset the Republican wins everywhere else. That, Democrats note, has changed.
One of the biggest differences between Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in Ohio one was enthusiasm in our cities, but another was that he lost rural Ohio, the smallest 50 counties, 60-40. Cuyahoga County alone overcame those 50 smallest counties. Hillary Clinton lost those same 50 counties, 73-27. She lost them by 400,000 votes. There are not enough Democrats to overcome that.
So in Ohio, they know, heading into 2020, they have to campaign everywhere, yes, but with a special emphasis on the suburbs, where State Democratic Chair David Peppers says they've seen a shift.
Places that the Republicans used to go to run up their biggest margins are now turning blue. It's particularly women.
And the choice of Otterbein for the debate, an example of that. Otterbein sits on the border of Delaware County.
Delaware County is a big suburban county north of Columbus. The second biggest margin of victory that Republicans traditionally would get was Delaware County.
Democrats in the past knew they weren't getting out of the mid-30s there, but in 2018, there was a shift into the 40s.
That shift gives us a lot more opportunity.
So for those who say Ohio is now a red state,
the debate coming here shows that the National Democrats disagree with that, as they should.
To win Ohio, the nominee will likely pull from the playbook of a Democrat who has, Sherrod Brown, who toyed with a run of his own earlier this year, emphasizing the dignity of work, which came up Tuesday.
We have to start putting the dignity back in work.
Protects that dignity of work.
I think they were definitely overtly appealing to the one successful statewide Democrat that we have had get elected, and that definitely is the game plan. If you can do what Sherrod Brown did as a progressive Democrat, not a moderate, then you've got a path to winning Ohio for the presidency.
And the Iowa caucus February 3rd is now just 106 days away. And that's important to note as talk of impeachment increases, because as you look at the stage the other night, there were 5 sitting U.S. senators who you remember would be the jurors in an impeachment trial, which means you're locked into Washington for the duration of the trial and not on the campaign trail. And the last one, Bill Clinton's, lasted 5 weeks. All right, let's switch gears to one of the most important decisions that could impact greatly the future of Cleveland. Will Sherwin-Williams stay or go? A lot of speculation on that, which a month into this process remains just that, speculation. Sherwin-Williams is Cleveland. In 153 years, it's the only home they've ever known. Spirit showed last month at the dedication of their sponsored entrance at the new Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which looks out at their headquarters just a few hundred yards away.
We look forward to this partnership, not only where we are today, but continuing to grow together.
But will that relationship be a long-distance one? In the post-Amazon HQ2 era, when a publicly traded Fortune 200 company announces they're looking for a site for new headquarters, they will find plenty of suitors, offers they will have to consider.
Sherwin-Williams has a responsibility to its shareholders and to its employees to be in the best market, with the best talent stream, with the most international access, and consistent with repositioning its brand as a company of the future.
John Boyd of the Boyd Company specializes in helping companies around the world go through the process of relocating. Though not working with Sherwin on this one, he says they all begin with a couple of common denominators. Number one being talent pool. Universities nearby graduating future workers with the skill sets needed to compete in a global economy. And number two, a major international gateway airport. The lack of a hub, he said, works against Cleveland.
I mean, just look at the label on Sherwin-Williams paint cans. It says cover the world. So international access is a major site selection driver today.
Based on talent and travel, then, who might be bidding?
I would expect Dallas, Houston, Charlotte, and Atlanta, Chicago to be in the mix. I think Pittsburgh could be an interesting outlier candidate for this project, given the strength of its chemicals industry.
Sherwin-Williams means more to Cleveland than the $15 million a year in taxes and the $500 million in employee payroll. It means clout. When we went to Washington in 2014 to make the pitch for the Republican National Convention, the concern on the RNC's part was, could Cleveland's corporate community raise the $65 million needed to host it? When then Sherwin-Williams CEO Chris Connor stood up to say we're good, we were good. Boyd said this process usually takes several months, and he's heard that the state and Jobs Ohio are aggressively making their push to keep this Cleveland industrial giant in Cleveland.
Sherwin-Williams is really the industrial face of Cleveland. And I think losing Sherwin-Williams would, bring back memories back to the 90s of losing the Cleveland Browns.
With Democracy 2019, I'm John Kosich. Enjoy your Sunday.